Now, more than ever, I am more mindful of the answers I give because of different purpose, venue, and jurisdiction I will be giving them. Most of all, some of the listeners and interviewers that I have sought would know each other at their different capacity. It's not unthinkable then to consider that in the most inopportune time, I can be held accountable for the decisions and consequences on account of my written and verbal pronouncements and testimonies. As the consequences of said written and verbal words interact and become relevant to each other, the materiality of it can either solve or worsen problems for us and for those other parties. After all, mine is not the only truthfulness and honesty that must pass through the test of integrity. And the here and now is not the only place and time frame that needs to be considered for the moment of reckoning that more often than not happens in future tenses. On the 17th of February 2019, the culmination of the event that we've been working hard for comes to be magnified in such a way as being the consequence of cross-border in the mainstream industries that were registered and building a name in. The significance of signatures and names sharing space with my own signatures and my verified and validated name on important documents and jurisdictions may not be an overnight reality. So we hunker down and make preparations to enforce the gains of the processes we have initiated and conformed with.
Hi, today is the 27th of November 2018 and this is the first day of my Clean 9 program, and part of the activity that I'm doing right now is the music session with ever talented Jerome. And this is in preparation for the live events that we're scheduling, although very fluid pa yung scheduling tentative. So, kasi maraming factors that we're considering and we're finalizing the very good end for 2018 as we welcome 2019. Yes. So the end of the day 1 for my Clean 9 will be on the December 4th. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the December 4th, there should be a difference in the physical fitness that I have right now. Diba? So in my line of work talaga, kung wala akong health, wala. Performance level, wala. Diba? So that's why I keep my health as a very valuable asset. So I hope that para po dun sa mga meron din mga conditions and karamdaman diseases, stay tuned because we're going to address some of your needs. But for now, this is the fitness regimen program. Thanks. Hit it, Jerome.
Ganito po, 2 times for intro. Tapos, after nito, pag... Waiting for you. That's the... Waiting for you. Yun, saka ako babasa. Okay. Intro mo na, Mama. Yung kanina natin, mas po yun.
You go ahead, tapos sasabay ako sa'yo.
Sige.
Malulabat na po siya.
Charge na. Sige,
Ngayon na po.
charge na.
The physical identification of the person or persons in some cases, personally bearing these important documents can either be so brazen or so out of touch with reality to introduce themselves as the name and the persons whose signatures have earned the right to be seen and heard for what they are and who they are. Brazen or truthful in seeking recognition as the ones being described as one and the same person or persons being attested to by said official documents and testimonies of other law-abiding citizens. I have come to a full realization of this as I became embroiled in different identity-proving paper trails. That before a person is proven guilty or innocent, he or she must first be heard and described, and not just through the civil status, meaning not through the name of a husband or a wife, estranged or not through a partner, a boyfriend or a girlfriend in secrecy or in open relationship, kasama na din ang incomplicated. And certainly not through the failures and successes of an owned business or businesses, and certainly not through the children, real or imagined by diseased mind. That each of us should stand or fall in the merits of our person, and there is the matter of full entitlement of a responsible citizenship. Hello, this is Clarissa talaga, and the platform I'm standing on at this time is shared by a lot of people of the same or different advocacy, of friends and associates, of family and loved ones.
Salamat po.
Think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew, you never knew. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon, or asked the grinning bobcat why he green? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Come run the hidden pine trails of the forest. Come taste the sun-sweet berries of the earth. Come roll in all the riches all around you, and for once never wonder what they're worth. The rainstorm and the river are my brothers. The heron and the otter are my friends, and we are all connected to each other. In a
Without doing the job of a lawyer, but having to commit to an agreement, I suddenly found myself becoming the first party of a contract. Before I called myself that, even to myself, first off, I had to make a distinction of how I don't mean a political party, and so different from attending a party, and thankfully not a third party to a relationship or having a third party to my marriage while we were still together, at least on my part. I use the term not because I want to sound learned, but it is how I can best explain why I would be in need of a representation, to be represented by a real lawyer, expeditiously in terms of explaining. have an understanding of what it is that a real lawyer, a real legal counsel can do for someone like me, how can I enlist an assistance or be counseled at that, right? Because of that, I told myself that I must know and recognize the rights of all parties, and I can't do that without understanding the basic principles. Before straying towards the exceptions and special cases, I deemed it worth my time to brush up on the norms. And before I embark on non-related matters, which will be an exercise in futility, I imagine myself sitting on a comfortable chair on the other end of a big, solid, and expensive-looking table, were a real lawyer, a pre-law graduate, and that I could see a diploma on the wall that says the person I was speaking with has a law degree, and to him or her I must state the purpose of my visit. According to Google, there are at least two parties involved in a contract: the PROMISOR, the PROMISEE, and sometimes a third-party beneficiary may be named. Each party has a different obligation to the contract terms, quote and unquote. And beyond that will be nosebleed for me, so I must stop. But that explanation is sufficient for my purpose. The terminologies are familiar, I'm very aware. I signed so many countless promissory letters. My daughters were able to graduate college because I followed the principle of the PROMISOR, who had presented herself at the Mother Superior Directress Office, at the Treasurer's Office, at the Finance Department, to bring with me my signed promise, being the PROMISOR, to the PROMISEE. When it was time for me to honor that signed promise, wish ko lang, somebody tried their best to stop. Stop! Go beyond and over me, to go the extra miles behind my back, to assume my responsibilities by fulfilling what those written promises said. Then a lot easier our life would have been. If on the way to the cashier window with the money to pay for the past dues that had been given reprieve because of promissory note, and while I'm walking with a heavy heart, I've been sabotaged, so I won't have to part ways and let go of the money on my pocket. Hard-earned money that will be a payment for the promissory letter. That will be a sabotage so welcome and so sensible for me. If while walking, Inaabangan na pala ako, ready to pounce, to stop me. Or should I say someone was lurking on the corner and had caused major problems and called me names and accused me of a lot of things, of doing so many things. But the bottom line will be, I should not have to make the payments. Wow, it's party. Come to think of it, if that had truly happened, if that was what happened, what kind of party will be the abangers, the secretive, the secret donors, the secret sponsors? What kind of party will he or she be called because he or she went behind my back, went over and beyond my intentions and motivations for executing the promissory oaths? What will they be called? A third party, perhaps? The act will imply benevolence or command responsibility or genuine interest, motivation of concern and desirous of what its effect will be to our finances if we would not have to make those payments. So in a way, at the end of a long cause and effect, he or she or they would have become the beneficiary of trusteeship, of guardianship to an incompetent ward or patient, so incapable of earning their keep, incapable of paying debts, incapable of doing something about their plight, about their situation. I will not declare that person to be a third party if my life depends on it, because that will be a guessing game. I will leave that to a real lawyer. So let's stay within the turf I'm familiar with, like a non-confidential matter of tuition fee payments. It would mean like 1 + 1 = 2. A student, 2 students, 3 students, a college or university, 3 billing statements, a mother called Clarissa, a father called Joaquin. What can be secretive about the need to come up with weekly budgets for allowances, for transportation, monthly budgets, semestral budgets? Of course, there will be expenditures, both in whispers and in loud voices of the telling. So what detective work and what classified information can there be in asking for the billing statement and notice of past dues? Pretty much straightforward and boring stuff as it can be for a bystander. What's in a detail for mere gossips who would want to go straight to the juicy part, to the juicy stuff? Unfortunately, that's not the case for the involved parties. For us, it's action-packed, truly everyday suspense-filled, emotional moments, day after day. Will this be the day? Will tomorrow be the day? Or should I make another promissory letter in place of the past promissory letter? There, I'm mentioning it again with another qualifier. Involved party or involved parties as against disinterested party as against interested party. Consider all the things that took place within the day. As I become the principal, speaking with a regulator who had received my application, and in turn as a barcode applicant, the people who can speak on my behalf will naturally be my family should they wish to do so. But it's a choice that I have to make or pass on or decline, and whoever will be named in the documents related to the approval of now these legal terms corresponding to the rightful place within my agreement. Their legal heirs, successors, legal representatives, administrators, executors, transferees, beneficiaries, legalese, probatees, nominees, and assignees. As the principal name in the documents, did I just become the first party to enter into consignment agreement with National Bookstore as the second party?